One thing I learned is to never be part of the story you talk about, but seems like someone has injected themselves into it. But before we start, well, if you like the programming here at Q2Cast TV and Man with the Show, you could help support us by basically going to teespring.com, whereas we have several products there, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs. Proceeds go to help support this channel. Also, you can go to buymeacoffee.com, where you can buy me a cup of coffee, or one, two, or even more. Proceeds from that also goes to new programming and current shows here on Q2Cast TV. Well, yesterday we discussed the Vic Mignogna, if I said that right. I do apologize if I was incorrect in saying it. We injected the whole story that yesterday we had accusations of homophobia and misconduct at Comic-Cons, and we discussed it a little bit. But between taping this and several things occurred, and I had mentioned that certain companies didn't bend the knee, and I was glad they didn't. Well, I spoke a little too soon. Two stories came out, one of them from Polygon, which Polygon is so-so. Rooster Teeth has cut ties with Vic about his reports. He does a character on Ruby, an anime on there. I don't really watch that one. I know a couple of people that do, and they do like it. So basically, they have cut ties with him. He's no longer voicing the whatever character it is on there. In fact, the latest season wrapped up January 26th. So basically, he's not any new seasons forward. He is not going to be on it. The other half is, and this comes out from Funimation's, and that's one thing I said. Funimation's didn't bend the knee, but I think they partially bent the knee here. Funimation's replaces Vic on Monroe's Monoke, another one I don't watch at all. Basically, because I know they're doing the English dub of it for season 2, so I think they've only done a couple episodes, but I guess they're going to be replacing him for further on down the line for this show. Now, does that mean that they're eliminating him from Dragon Ball Super? Because there is a new season planned down the line, and knowing how the first part of the season happened, where they added Battle of the Gods into the storyline, they'll probably most likely bring Broly into the fold on there, but that might change now, and they may not even bring Broly into the series on there, which is a shame on there. I like the character Broly. Basically, it's getting a little crazy on this story, and I was up very early this morning going through Twitter, and basically it was not pretty at all. Now, I find several things curious about the whole situation, and like I said, it's ugly. I try to trace back as far as I can go on Twitter, as far as because there are certain people that have put up postings and claim that they have been saying this for years, and I trace back onto there, and I noticed some of the postings on Twitter did not start until about mid-January sometime, corresponding with the release of the Dragon Ball Broly movie, which is very curious to say on there. Now, I try to trace back as far as I can go in the system, and I went back about within the year, at least another year back, and there was some that were just like a little bit here, a little bit there. They said they didn't like him at a con. Basically, they weren't treated well, and one or two persons said, "Well, he helped. I didn't like the hug," which basically, okay, it was a hug. I mean, there's a difference between a hug and uncomfortable hug and a sexual accusation. And I saw a couple of them that were in there of actual sexual accusations. And I just, it's starting to, the way that some of them are written. And like I said, proven innocent until proven guilty, I will always say onto there. And yes, I do agree the women should be heard out as well. But when there is question of them, of some of the way it says, I read one where they say she got touched in an elevator, but she said the time period, but she didn't say what hotel, what con, what act. All we get is like a year that was like 10 years or 11 years back, and that just finds me to be very questionable, especially after the Kavanaugh case, where the couple of accusers were coming out and they said, "Well, it happened on this time, but I don't know where it was exactly." I can understand a traumatic thing like that. You can forget things and stuff like that, but sometimes you can trace back where you were. You remember where you were at a con. If you were at San Diego Comic-Con, and this happened at San Diego Comic-Con, you remember you were at San Diego Comic-Con. I understand, if you're not, don't remember the house you were at or something of that nature. But if you were at a major event, you should be able to remember the major event you were at. If you continue to go to that event continuously. And, there's a lot. I tell you, this video is very hard to put together and to see how things are. And here's the other fact to this position. Now, yesterday I did put up a piece of a article written by the Anime News Network, and basically it showed some pictures, some girls, and I did mention this particular girl here. She posted that why was her picture being used in this article when she had nothing bad to say about him. And I think one or two other girls have come forward as well. Now, as of this morning, I went to go back to the post on there. It's no longer on the front page on the date that this was printed on. Now, it is been re-edited, and a lot of the pictures that originally were on here. Now, I don't have the original column. If you go over to Clownfish TV, which I love that channel, they're great over there, and we're going to get into what happened with Clownfish TV as part of this story. He shows a little bit of the picture. So if you go by what he shows on there and hold up the article as he's scrolling down on it, and I'm going to try to get in touch with him so I can get the full article from him, or find some way to get the full article, the original article from him, because it has to be somewhere still. A lot of the pictures are gone. There's maybe, if you're looking at it, I'm looking at the article right now, and there is one, two. No, actually, it's only two photos of two different girls. And then there's another photo of his phone number. The phone number was written down or somewhere or something like that. And the other photos are no longer there. At the bottom, if you look at the bottom of the article, it says update. This article has been updated for better clarity and to further protect the identities of the individuals in the photo. Now I'm starting to question even further on this. And the reason I want to question this now from this article is what happened yesterday, especially after I put this up. Now, I myself have not been attacked in any way whatsoever, as far as I know. I haven't seen my accounts or anything like that been criticized or anything mentioned on Twitter with this show. But the editor of Anime News Network, Mike Toole, called over Clownfish TV, and I guess another lost pause, calling them Nazis because of basically what they said in the video. Now, Clownfish TV is open. They're going to show both sides. Just like here, I'm going to show both sides of the situation. And basically, he got involved in the situation. And on top of that, he was trying to send this to YouTube to ban these two channels. Now, as I said in my opening a little bit, one thing you don't want to do is when you're saying a story is that you want to get yourself involved in the story. Mike Toole has gotten himself involved in the story. Now, I don't know Mike Toole. You know, I do read Anime News Network all the time. I find some of their articles are good and all that. But I have to say to Mike Toole, and I'm sorry, but Mike, you've gotten yourself into a situation where you've involved yourself, where to the point that you now have told people to purge these channels because you disagree with what they've said. Now, that is not good, especially now that you have a lot of the other social media news sites purging their people, you know, because they're not doing very well. And then on top of that, you've had other media sites, Twitter sites, people on Twitter make accusations on other stories, which turned out to be false. And now there are lawsuits blooming from this. I would say to Anime News Network, be very careful on what you say to other people reporting this. If you disagree with them, you want to disagree with them, that's fine. But when you start to call them Nazis, or you want to call for their expulsion from the internet, that is totally wrong. And understand, you may not like what I say, but unfortunately, that's my opinion on this show. And, if the main executive producer doesn't like what I say on this show, he knows that's my opinion. And he's not going to say, hey, look, listen, I don't want you doing that anymore. Same thing on your end. If you don't like this, you're reporting on this story. This is a reporting of a story of accusations we don't know. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's false. But we have to give it 50-50 balance to the nature. Yes, we do have to hear the accusations. That is true. But we also have to give the benefit of the doubt to the person that's being accused and give him his or her day in court. I mean, if you look, Mike Toole had said, you could be damn sure that YouTube Nazis are jumping at the chance to monetize this. Great job looking out at YouTube. Mike, you get your payment from Anime News Network, whoever owns it, whatever on there. They get it from advertisements, from online and all that, and you get paid. Those shows also get paid to do their shows on there. And once again, if you disagree with them, fine, you disagree with them. But the way you're acting like it, that's not. You've jumped from, reporter, and actually you're editor, but you're now commenting and you're becoming part of the story itself. This is what's been happening in total news media. Everybody's becoming part of the news, and this is why YouTube media, or in the social media news, it's been starting to build in certain sites. I mean, you guys got guys like Tim Pool, who's fantastic folks, if you want to get some good news and get some balanced information, and this is from someone who is a liberal, social liberal himself, he gives a great balance. He is going to call, he's going to call a rock, no matter who it is, whether it's the president or if it's someone in the Senate, a Republican, Democrat, don't matter who it is, you're going to get a balance. And this is what it's supposed to be. We give a balance of the story. Getting back and not taking away from this. If, this is true of all these natures, yes, these people need to start to come forward. These girls need to start to come forward and if this is still within the nature of the law enforcement, they need to do the due diligence of justice. Same way that basically Vic, on his other hand, has to also do due diligence to clear his name as well. So basically, we can't be sitting there knocking. And this is why Twitter has become such, it's becoming so toxic. And that's why I've pulled away a lot of from Twitter. The only reason I'm there is to catch on some certain stories, to see what people are posting as far as that, and to see if anybody posted anything on my sites as all. But we've gotten to a point where we got to be careful what we say, because now the lawyers are coming out, and some people are going to get in trouble. And if you think you're on Twitter, you the individual on Twitter can say something and it turns out to be false, you can be liable. Right now there are cease and desist orders being sent to a lot of people right now on Twitter and in the media itself. If you don't think so, look up the Coventry high school kids news story. And even on YouTube, the lawyer's been on YouTube. He's been saying what he's been doing, and basically he has sent out paperwork of if they don't continue if they do not remove it, they're going to go forward and lawsuits. So we need to be careful. We must tread lightly on what we say. We must give the benefit of the doubt to the accuser and the one that is being accused. We must give it balance on both ends until we have the full story in on our laps and is adjudicated properly. We must not let things like this, where basically we turn into an angry mob with torches and use the internet as our torches to go across and insult people without them being given the moment to hear their side of the story as well. I mean, there's even a couple, when I was going through the Twitter, there's another gentleman, Todd I might be butchering his name, Habernack. He's another voice actor, but he's also played, I believe, Spock on the Star Trek Continue series. And also some people have criticized him as well. Basically, saying that, he's horrible at conventions and stuff like that. And the other half is some of the other voice actors have been just literally walking away from Vic and basically saying, we have to hear the accuser, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But understand, like I said, got to give it 50-50. You're throwing the man under the truck without knowing the whole story. And that's most important. We need to hear the entire story. So, don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when new episodes go on Man with the Show here on Cast TV. We'll be continuing on there. Let's continue the conversation below in the comments. So basically, don't forget, you can buy me a cup of coffee. You can also check us on teespring.com. Also, that helps us to keep these episodes going and new shows to be built, which that's what we're working on. Hopefully, we'll take some sanity into the whole situation, because basically you can hurt someone's career badly. I mean, you can ask Chris Hardwick how much of a hard time he had, and then he was vindicated. But are you truly vindicated? Are all the others that have been proven innocent truly vindicated? I would say ask the guys at the Duke lacrosse team if they've been truly vindicated. I would ask the people that were accused by Tawana Brawley, are they truly vindicated? You know, ask anybody that basically, if you look up where basically a sexual harassment, rape, or something like that they've been accused of, and they were truly vindicated, if they were really vindicated. So we got to be careful. So take your time, breathe, and those in the media, you know, report it correctly. Balance nature. Like here. Hear both sides. Because one day, it could be you on the firing squad of this whole situations like this. And, you know, you're going to feel really bad on there, because you won't know what to do. So, until Friday, let's hope we can breathe a little bit better. And I know we went long on this episode. Hold up a mug of coffee, water, beer, whatever you want to call it. Like us, but don't give us a popularity award. I'll see you on Friday on the rebound. Game over, folks.